Hey everybody, I'm checking in with a little live here on a Wednesday afternoon. Just thought I'd pop in. It's been a long time since I've done a live broadcast and wanted to catch up with you, and maybe we can schedule another one for a time when more people are available. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what's going on with the coronavirus and how you can protect yourself, what really is happening in the world around this virus, and maybe hear from you how this is affecting you in your life. It's a big deal, and there's some people saying that we're overreacting and some people saying we're underreacting, and so I'd like to hear from you what you're feeling and how this is working for you. For many of you who know me, know I've been in the healthcare world for a long time, and so we've seen some of these things come and go over the years. It seems like every few years there's a big one that scares the hell out of everybody, and this one certainly is unnerving in that it is. Hi Brian, hi Tina, hi Shannon. So nice to see you checking in. Happy to see you here. So how's the media and the coronavirus affecting you guys? What are you doing? What's changed for you? I'd love to hear from you. What we do know is that it is spreading, and that today the World Health Organization declared it an official pandemic, which just means that it's spreading from continent to continent. And we know that it's, Italy has really kind of nailed down their communities. They've locked people down, and the countries that do that seem to hold the spread from getting out of their countries. But it's still can be pretty devastating, the people that it is taking out. We have to remember too that the flu does this every year all around the world. We don't talk about it so much anymore because it seems to be what we expect. This one is a little more virulent in that it does seem to have a bigger impact on people who have any kind of compromised immune system and lung capacity, especially because of the way that this one in particular affects the lung tissue. So we do know that keeping the things we can do, one is to minimize your exposure to big public places. That's a tough one because we're a social mobile world, and so people are having to cancel trips and not go to different venues where there's massive amounts of people. I guess that's always a risk. So Tina says, I find it strange how it can go from one place to another. I get nervous to go anywhere else. It's being spread by humans, and humans have been traveling, and humans are mobile, and humans cough, and so it is in the droplets of air that come out through our breath, and bodily fluids certainly are one way that's spreading. Just because you're exposed doesn't mean you're going to get it or you have it. So I think that's something we need to also be aware. Just like any other virus, it's the amount of exposure you get. So if you get one virus cell in your body, chances are your body will deal with it. If you get 1,000, then you are probably going to be overwhelmed, especially if your immune system isn't that strong. So I'm doing things like taking extra vitamin D, which is known to be an immune booster. I'm also making sure I wash my hands even more carefully than I already did, especially in public. And I'm seeing in public places, I was in the Bay Area this weekend, and I did see in public places, people were being much more cautious about how they were washing their hands, touching doorknobs, going in and out of restrooms, making sure they went to eat, that they washed their hands before they ate, and then again after. So there's just all kinds of ways that we can amp up our own protection. I think this is important universally, regardless of the coronavirus, because we know that flu season spreads and kills people every year. And if we're more careful, hey JR, good to see you. If we're more careful about where we go when we're sick, and to be more mindful, if we have to go places, wear a mask. That's really probably the most considerate thing that we can do. If you're coughing and sniffling and snorting all over the place, wear a mask. Keep it to yourself. Stay home if you can. So it's in Jamaica now, and Italy and Mexico. Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's going to be all over the world, Tina. There's no place that's going to be immune from this virus. Viruses are smart. They're survivors, and they also morph so that they can survive their hosts. And so, when viruses first come out, oftentimes they're supercharged and they wipe out their hosts. Think back to HIV, wiped out a lot of its hosts, but then the virus had to morph so that it could survive and it wouldn't kill its host. So these things do change over time, but what we need to do now is to protect people that are the most at risk. Anybody that's on immunosuppressants, anybody who's going through cancer treatment, anybody who has compromised lungs, anybody that's older and has just been more sickly. The irony is that children seem to be least affected by this. So there is something there that they're actually looking at to understand how this virus works that's different from others. So those things, shaking hands, probably need to stop that. No shaking hands or fist bumping, wave. Keep some distance now, because you can't tell who's been exposed, who's coming down with it. People will have a little low-grade fever. They might have a little bit of a cough. You may not notice that at first. So it's important that we just have to be more conscious. Philippines, Taiwan, China, a lot. Yeah, what's interesting is flu virus always starts in the East, always. And it makes its way around the world. That's how we know how to make flu vaccine, is we study the birds in China or in Asia, and the bird flu that's primarily where it comes from. This one seemed to have come from bats, which was kind of interesting, a little different mode of transmission. So it's man-made from somewhere. No, there's no. It's not man-made. It's viruses make themselves. They're survivors. So we just have to combat it to the best of our ability. But we know that cleanliness is one of the best things to combat viruses. I think that everybody needs to be showering twice a day. Shower when you come home, if you've been out at work all day. Shower as soon as you come home. Wash your clothes. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Teach your kids to wash their hands. Avoid, going to massive public exposure where you're in small contained spaces, like airplanes, sadly. Right now, I'm not real excited about flying anywhere. So, we just have to be mindful that it does seem to be kind of coming to a head. We hope that it will happen faster rather than later, and then we can get a grip on it. The testing, not everybody can get tested just because you want to be tested, because there are not that many test kits. So be mindful that if you feel the symptoms, which is generally a fever and cough, that's where it starts. It's not necessarily a runny nose or body aches or some of the other, a sore throat. Those are not generally the symptoms of this virus. So research it, study it, understand it, and then protect yourself. If you don't take vitamin D, I'm a big fan of it, and so you can take 5,000 to 10,000 units a day. This time of year, it's not harmful, and it has some known immune boosting benefits. So, take care of yourself, eat healthy, get your rest, keep your immune system strong with positive thinking. All this worry isn't going to help us. It's not going to prevent anything. It's not going to protect us. So we do need to make sure that we're living our lives with joy and a sense of peace, inner peace, knowing that we're going to be okay, and just keep your risks low, just like you would anytime that there was a whole bunch of people out there sick. I believe with today's technology, be able to come up with an antidote soon. They're certainly working on vaccines, madly, I'm sure, but sadly that takes a year to get a vaccine through all the proper channels and to test it over enough to know whether it's going to work, just like with any vaccination. So it is going to be, but we don't even have a cure for the common cold virus. Viruses are tough, and they're doing some experimenting with some of the really strong antivirals that they use, but those have their own set of consequences. So it's not something that you would take preventatively. More importantly is to keep your body as healthy and strong as possible. But I'm also that East-West combination, and I believe that our thinking, our belief model, our inner voice going on all the time is a big part of how our body responds. And so listen carefully to the words you're using when you're in your thinking mind, because you're in there 24/7. So you want to make sure that you're being mindful, that you're being positive and supportive and looking for the good in every day. None of us have any guarantees that we get tomorrow, regardless of any kind of pandemic. So make sure that you're making this day count, and that you're finding joy, you're telling people you love them, and you're allowing other people to love you in return. Because I think that's part of what makes this whole life worth living. And, protect yourselves. So if you don't have any other questions, I just wanted to pop in. I'll do another live perhaps later in the week, and that way we can spend a little more time chatting, and I'll fill you in on what's been going on with me in my world. It's been busy, couple trips to Jamaica, all kinds of fun things happening, but I wanted to just chat with you about this today, since that did come out. And one more thing, Harvey Weinstein has been convicted of 2 counts of sexual crimes, and he is going to be spending 23 years in prison. So that's a huge win for humankind, to know that we don't tolerate the abuse of power any longer, from men or women, towards men or women. This is a huge statement that I think we need to make, that we want to protect all people from this type of abuse of power, and this is a great thing for humankind. So we need to celebrate that. I love that hashtag Time's Up, which means that we're not tolerating this crap anymore. And Harvey Weinstein got what he got, was coming to him. 30-year plus history of abusing women for his own self-interest. Not cool. So anyway, all right. How am I doing through work's been great, busy, lots of writing, lots of counseling. I have a private practice now in Northern California, plus my online private practice. So it's been a busy time, but everything's great on this end. And I'm appreciating every day all the people who love me, all the people I get to love, and the kindness that all of you so generously show me. It truly is deeply appreciated. The world can be tough, especially when you have a public personality, or you're out there a little bit exposed and vulnerable, and people can be a little cruel at times. And so all of you that pop in here and write me such nice things and say nice things on my posts, I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate that. It doesn't go unnoticed, and you're the reason that I still do this. So I want to thank you for that, And feel free to write me if you have a comment or a topic that you'd like me to talk about with you. And I'll get back in the habit of doing this at least once a week. All right? Make this the best day possible. We only get this one once. It's not a dress rehearsal. And like I say, every day you wake up, you get to decide whether you're a warning or an example. And I try really hard to be an example more than a warning. All right, make this a great day. Namaste.